YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre, the tour reviews and reviews, back in here with yet one more video, joined today by a returning guest, Leah.
Hello.
What up?
What up?
You doing
good? I'm sleepy.
You sleepy? I'm actually kind of tired too.
We're old.
We are. You're not.
Washed.
What are you talking about? You're not washed.
Washed.
You're not,
Big
you're not,
washed.
You're not washed. You're a baby. I'm old. Anyway, Thanksgiving's coming up.
Tis.
Are you cooking?
Of course I'm cooking.
You can cook, or can you cook?
Does that sound? I detect a sense of doubt. I hear doubt.
Okay.
I don't like that.
You don't like that? Well, then prove me wrong. Anyway, we got a video to do. I don't want to keep them holding up, waiting too long. If your ex passes and you cry, you single now, by the YouTubers Abba and Preach. I'm a big fan of them. They produce fantastic content. This video request was submitted by Patreon supporter, Mr. Michael Bennett. I see you. I appreciate the support, my G. All right. Anything to say before we get started? And have you watched this video?
Have not watched it.
Okay.
But we're about to. So.
We're about to. I haven't either. So let's just get right in there. Without further ado.
So, today's topic.
All right, we all love it when our men are vulnerable and show emotion, right?
Yeah.
Well, according to singer Rihanna, it depends what they're crying about.
That's right.
Rihanna posted this meme to Instagram that said, if we get together and your ex died and you cry, you single. Yes, Rihanna, yes, Riri.
Now, could you imagine somebody says and you start weeping? I'm sorry, I think that there is a time and a place for everything, and I think if you have such uncontrollable emotion when it comes to that person that you can't even control it to not do it in front of your current spouse, that you might still have some type of feelings for that person.
100,000% I agree.
So angry, so
mad. Okay, hold on. Hold on. So hold on. So do you want... So do you want someone to be vulnerable or someone that controls their emotions?
All right, we all love it when our men are vulnerable and show emotion, right?
And when men can't control the fact that they are crying over someone they potentially loved, over someone that they had kids with, over someone that they shared intimacy with, and that this person is no longer going to be alive. And if I cry, if I show that I care deeply about this person, I'm single. So this is what...
Let's just talk about this real quick, because I actually forgot that they're a reaction channel. So I guess we're like, this is like reaction inception. We're like reacting to a reaction. Anyway, so let's just talk about it real quick. I feel like that's ridiculous. Like, I feel like, how could you want someone that is in tune with their emotions, but then they can't express emotions over something that's a really serious
oxymoron that makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
She's dead ass wrong. I can't.
First of all, I feel like Rihanna, I don't follow her, or I don't even have a Twitter account, but I feel like if you like posting something like that, she's doing that in jest.
And that was on Instagram, but yes.
Okay.
Definitely in jest. And Rihanna posts memes like that all the time, so I don't know why all of a sudden people would take this one seriously.
Take it seriously, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. But even still, so then the logic is he might still be showing emotion, but I feel what they're saying, because it's in a sense of like, but dying is a really serious, like it's a really serious, it's not like,
humans in general are not used to dealing with finality.
Death and yeah.
Like,
I mean, we've created religions in order to
escape it and
to have a reason and an explanation as to why it happens.
Right. So why all of a sudden, it really just boils down to being possessive over somebody. That's the bottom line. Because if you are not secure enough in your position as a partner, no matter what gender, to the point where you cannot deal with somebody expressing grief in general, let alone grief over the finality of human life, that's silly. That's silly.
It's weird.
It doesn't change your position in their life. They can't cheat with their dead ex-spouse. Like,
yeah. it doesn't make sense, and it's so selfish.
It's
really selfish for you, right? Because irrespective of, you know, maybe they're not feeling anything for the person, but right, it's not like the ex lost a job and then the person starts crying. Like, this is death. Like, this is serious. You know, I actually just recently experienced a traumatic. I talked about it on my live stream not too long ago. Someone relatively close to me never woke up, died in his sleep. And the thing is the way that I don't think I really ever experienced grief to that. I have a really small family up until when this just happened. And I've had, like, you know, people connected to me in my family that have passed away, but I didn't really know them like that. But even though this person wasn't in my family, I experienced this loss, and it murked me. And this thing is, like, I don't consider myself an emotional person, but this hit me in a different type of way. And I just say all that to say, like you don't know how you're gonna experience something until you go through it, especially grief, because that's one of those weird. I mean, there's counsel.
Everybody reacts differently.
Like there's subjects in school that will try to train people how to deal with grief, right? Like, you know, they'll have grief counselors at work, right? Like, you know, they'll try to establish ways to deal with it because it's such a weird thing to deal with.
But you can have all the techniques in the world, and at the end of the day, you will not know how you personally deal with it until you go through it, and then you won't know how to apply those techniques until after you've experienced it, after you go through it. Right. I lost my mom earlier this year, so big loss. Always something that I always said I would never go on after that. I would never know what to do. I wouldn't care anymore. And generally speaking, that has been the truth. But in that same vein, when she first got sick, and it was a rapid issue, it was non-chronic. It was an acute issue that escalated within a month, something that we didn't even realize was an issue. And she was just gone. It was just over. So in that time, my ex and I dated for 3 years. We broke up a year and a half ago. So last June. We had not talked up until that point since we broke up. We have not talked since my mother's incident. And I still told him because him and I dated for 3 years. These are people who were not just connected to my mother through me, but were connected to my mother. All of my friends know my mom because of the type of person she was. So I told him what happened. He didn't try to assert his boundary or my boundary. He didn't try to slide back into my life, and not the other way around either. So it wasn't about him. It was about the fact that people care about people and allowing people the space to have their own relationship or their own grief for people. So I didn't want to be the one to stand in the way of somebody else grieving for my mom, let alone praying for her.
Right.
So.
No, I appreciate you sharing that story, and it just makes me think of, like, you know, although you have not been in a relationship with him, it's something that he had a relationship with you, but, you know, knew your mother, right? So, like, out of respect, I think that communication was to happen. Now, if your ex has a girlfriend that now got mad at him because he's reaching out to you to, you know, console or to just find out kind of like what happened and how he could be of support, right? Like, I think that's shitty. Like, you just gotta, right? Because of how specific this instance is. Like, it's so many different factors that can affect you so many different ways. And I think being selfish to want to, right, like, not let people communicate when it's something as serious like that just seems like. And
that's the thing. Like, these are major relationships. This is a person who used to be that person's everything per se. That used to be their best friend at one point, or their lover, or their whatever. So, like, even if they do have some sort of communication deeper than, oh, sorry for your loss, if it's going to the extent of what happened, sorry to hear this, I'm here for you, like basic things, then cool. Now, would I expect him, he lives in North Carolina, would I expect him to drive from North Carolina to Ohio for the funeral? No. But I don't think that takes away from the fact that he deserves to know. And he was still supportive in that moment. It's like, so sorry to hear that, what happened. It was very short, sweet, to the point. People deserve to express those boundaries or express those concerns or whatever in the way that they need to. And like you said earlier, it comes down to selfishness. And like I said earlier, it comes down to possessiveness. That's
real. All right, well, let's go on for a couple more. Let's see if they have a contrarian point to that. I doubt that they do. They're full of logic, these gentlemen.
What I mean when I say be careful who you fall for, because a lot of people claim they love, but in reality what they want is ownership. What they want is a trophy. They want someone that they can say that they're with so that their friends and family will be like, oh, you're with somebody, and they can get that love and affection, but they're not really capable. In our last video, we talked about possessiveness in relationships, and we recognized how a lot of people don't recognize how possessive they're being. This, what she presented to you, is level 99 possessiveness.
Over.
Yes.
Over, because the person is dead. That person's dead.
Really quickly, I'm sorry, because I feel like they're about to change topics, and I want to touch on this, if that's okay.
What's up?
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know if they're about to get into this, but I want to make sure I cover this base. So something that they're like making light of, but also like really touching on, is the aspect of letting go. So we're talking about all these boundaries and being possessive and all of that, and sure, absolutely allow people to grieve and whatever. However, there is a line. There is a line where that grief, and it's not so much to say that this person was so wrapped up in this person that they obviously don't care about me, they can't stop crying, they can't stop grieving, whatever else. I think it's more to say that, does this person know how to deal with grief? And is that okay that they have not learned or not learning how to deal with said grief? And is it right for me to be in their space and occupy this position in their life when they clearly have something so heavy to work on themselves? And so I'm not saying that up and leave them or whatever else. I'm saying that that might be a red flag. That if down the line, because granted, a death affects you forever. That doesn't change. However, how you allow it to affect you or how you deal with that effect is a lot different.
So he's just saying it matters how they respond to it.
In the long run. I'm talking about long term.
Not immediately.
Not immediately. Like, I mean, for the most part, immediate reaction can be controlled to a certain degree. Past that, immediate reactions are exactly that, reactions. And so down the line, a lot more thought goes into that. How you control your emotions, how you control your grief, how you process your grief, because that belies something else in how you process other things.
So I would argue someone who is unable to eventually process it, you've seen in other ways that they are incapable of certain emotions.
Definitely.
So this would just be another kind of data point that you'd have to collect in order to make a final decision. But I agree with you.
Hopefully this would be early on, that like when you start dating a week later, he loses his ex from 3 years ago. That would be, this would suck to be the first red flag.
It would be.
That would be a drastic red flag.
No, it would be. It would be a red flag. However, that's a very outlier situation. That's generally not what happens. So,
agreed.
Fair point.
Sorry.
You want to keep
hanging
going?
off my chest.
The irony is that if I had never dated that person, I may never have become the man that you are seeing today, that you are in a relationship with now.
That shit happened in my couple.
What do you mean?
Well, when one of my girls' ex died, he committed suicide. She went to the funeral, everything. Like she came home, like she learned about that. She was crying. I was like, oh shit. And I knew the dude.
Yeah.
I didn't like the dude.
Okay.
Yo, she was hurt.
Yeah. And what did you feel?
It doesn't matter what I feel. My girl's hurt.
Yeah, but in regards to what she was feeling, what was your response?
I don't want my girl to be hurt.
Right.
If that's really genuinely what it was. Like, not because I'm a better person than anybody, but it's just the way, maybe it's the way I was raised, some shit like that. Yo, that motherfucker is fucked up to take your own life. It's really crazy. Can you imagine crying over someone that ends their journey? Yes, I can.
You know, I just thought about too. I think like one thing you also have to consider is, you know, in that situation, like I wonder if there's any guilt that's being felt. You know, just from the perspective of, you know, for like a suicide, for example, you know, you might have saw things that would have, you know, tipped you off. That maybe this is something in their future.
Get this person help that they may have needed. But then that's survivor's guilt.
That is survivor's guilt. But guilt, you know, it manifests in a lot of different ways, and sometimes it unfairly manifests, but it's just the way that our stupid little minds work from time to time. You know, especially if you have a great deal of empathy for other people. I think Abba's on the left. I think he made a fantastic point. You know, there's people in my life too that, you know, I haven't seen them in a long time, you know, a decade, 2 decades, but they were a part of my experience. They were a part of forming some very aspect that made me me, and it would be selfish of me if, you know, if I didn't feel for that, you know, at least even a little bit, or try to attend the funeral or what have you. This is why, like, I think the media is just, you know, this cable TV syndicated media is just so much, like, it's just so much bullshit. Like, it's almost as if you just can't trust anything that you see on TV, right? You have to just kind of scrape everything with a fine-tooth comb in order to understand the value of what it is that people are telling you. Because there's people that look at that whatever show that was ever talk, was that The View or something like that? What one of them, you know, and but they just tell you things. It's just like so heartless, and it's so.
Those shows are that they put several different hosts together with differing opinions. So the thing with that show is each one of them tends to represent a different view. So we only heard Adrian's in that clip, and so Tamara kind of introduced the topic, but we didn't get to hear the rest of their opinions. We don't know what they said, but most often they have differing opinions. It wouldn't be all too interesting of a show if everybody agreed with each other, and that's why Talk. Yeah. Whoopi, I think that's the one. The Talk or The View, whatever, is so popular because her and Megan back and forth.
Yeah, but this is what I'm trying to say is she may not really have that view in real life, but they got them together just to have separate views, right? So I feel like because it's just contrived in order to hire their views. Meanwhile, me and you are just going to talk about things at face value, irrespective of if it's going to be too hot for TV, right? And get more views, you know, from it. Like, we don't know where this conversation is going to go when we turn on this camera.
I mean, yeah.
But there's so many things in polished media that is scripted beforehand in order to kind of like form a story.
Right.
Like, she may or may not really
Actually
believe the
that.
things that came out of her mouth. At least I hope not. You selfish, possessive woman. God, you are terrible. All right, let's go back in.
I'm not even trying to say that I'm a better person than whatever, but it's just, how I was raised. It's just like, can we put this...
Can I just say, though, you are a better person. Because anybody who can put themselves aside for other people's suffering is inherently better for humanity because they're putting others above themselves.
Wow.
That's what I hope I get to instill in my kids and in my friends and my community, the idea of sacrificing for others. And he didn't put his personal feelings about the dude first. What he put above anything else is his girl suffering.
Oh boy, and I didn't like that boy.
If you, a partner, whether it be friendly or romantic, whatever, if you don't allow a partner the space, time, and whatever else to express what they need to express, whether it was caused by you or otherwise, a lot of times it's going to build resentment. Now, they may say, oh, that's not going to happen, I don't take it that way. Builds resentment. And if nothing else, that resentment is going to turn into distrust. So I can't trust you to express my emotions around you or to tell you what's going on, whether that be about other things or about us. Like, you're driving that wedge further and further into your relationship. And why cause that? Whereas on the other hand, if you're accepting and give them what they need or what they don't need, or as far as give them space versus if they ask for space, give it. If they want you here, give it, whatever. If you're accommodating in that sense, that was so many words. If you're accommodating in that sense, they'll appreciate that, ideally. Should they know how to process what they need to process, they'll appreciate that, and that'll only improve your relationship, improve your trust, improve your bond.
Boom. Leah. I don't think I need to go into the video anymore. There's some fantastic content creators. I've been in Preach. I'll leave a link down in the description box down below. Feel free to go over there and continue and finish out the video. Leah. So you like this one?
This is a good video.
It's a great video.
Not mad about it.
I think that the way that they combine fantastic logic mixed with comedy. I think the one on the left, I believe, is a comedian as well. But fantastic logic, because there's an education as well as an entertainment component as well for something that's can be a touchy subject. You know what I mean? Definitely. All right. Listen. Anything else to say before we sign out?
No, I think that pretty much covered it. I think
you
said
covered
plenty.
It, girl. You did a fantastic
plenty.
job. I appreciate you. All right.
Yes.
All right, listen, questions, comments, concerns, you guys already know what to do. Leave it down in the description box down below. Until next time, y'all.